Hello, I'm Hazelle.
Hi, I'm Azura.
And I'm Germaine.
And welcome back to Clarity's
Hush Podcast. Okay, so actually, right, picking up from last week's episode about toxic masculinity, so I decided to do a little experiment.
Okay.
Okay, so Irwan has a younger brother who's 11. So, like, randomly, I just said, hey, is it okay, like, for boys to cry? And I was very surprised because he just looked at me and said, yeah, what's wrong? And I was like, well done!
The next generation
Yes!
is
I
where
was
it's
like,
at.
wow, okay. That's all. That's my mini experiment.
But that gives me a lot of hope for the future, actually. Now, after last week's slightly stressful episode, where we were forced to take a look at ourselves
Yes.
very seriously, we're going to talk about something I would say very juicy.
Exciting!
Ooh, what kind of juice?
What kind of juice? Orange. Yeah. but I'm super excited. But today, very, very interesting because we've got our very first guest on the show.
Oh my god!
That's right. So, because our guest is a little bit shy, she's actually our hush producer.
Okay.
So we're gonna use something else to represent her.
Something cute.
Alright.
What do we have here?
Warm welcome to our Hush producer.
Yay!
You comfortable? You good? All right.
Yeah, we'll call her producer N.
Producer
But
N.
she's also got a microphone. So let's hear a bit from her. Hi, producer N. Tell us a bit more about yourself.
Don't shy, it's okay?
Yeah.
Hi everyone, my name is Producer Ann. I produce Hush Podcast.
Yay!
And I tell you, so much work goes into every episode. So much research, a lot of details. You know, it's all the hard work of producer Anne and her team. Thank you,
That's
Lynette,
right.
as well.
Thank you. And also Cornelius, who actually edits our videos.
Ooh,
Every
thank
episode, we must give a shout out to
Yes,
him.
because we know you're our number one fan.
Superstar.
So, producer Anne, how do you feel about the episode that we're going to cover today? Are you a little bit nervous?
I am actually. Yeah, even though I wrote the key points down. And then I think answering them will be a little bit difficult. I'm a bit shy.
Because it's very personal, I would say, today's topic.
Yes, that's right. So today, this is what we're talking about, okay? We're talking about something called chastity, okay? And wedding nights, because I guess a lot of people place importance on wedding nights. Yeah.
Okay.
And this is, I guess, going to be very useful for those who are looking to get married soon,
Like yourself?
or thinking about marriage, or you're just plain curious. You want to find out a bit more. So let us firstly kind of like give our opinions on what you think the ideal wedding night should be. What would happen on your ideal wedding night? How about let's start with producer N.
Let's go.
Okay, background. Producer N just got married a while
Yay!
ago.
Yay!
Congratulations! Yay!
I think, to be honest, like what you've seen on movies and TVs, right? Oh, I thought it would be very romantic. You know, coming back from the wedding and you see your husband as your husband for the first time. Yeah, I was kind of excited, I remember. I was like, oh, you know, like I'm finally able to like touch my husband.
Wow!
Yes, girl.
Honestly, you haven't touched him before the wedding.
No, I have held his hands and everything like that.
You
But-
got to hold anything else? Only his hands?
I have definitely touched his hands before.
Okay.
Yeah, so yeah, I was quite excited
Right.
about that.
It kind of like romanticized the idea of a wedding night, right? So we'll talk a bit more about her actual wedding night.
Exactly.
later
Were
on.
your hopes and dreams
Yeah.
shattered, you know?
You hold more things. Like, okay. But first, I want to ask Hayes,
Okay.
what is your ideal wedding night?
You know, being a host and having hosted 20 over nearly 30 weddings, this has really changed my idea
You host
of...
the wedding, not the wedding night, right?
I would love to host a wedding night, but so far no one has approached me to do
Come
so.
on, the wife and the husband to the bed.
Yeah, I've hosted a lot of weddings. I just have one thing to say. On the day of the wedding, right, the two people who are the most tired is the bride and the groom. Not anybody else, honestly. So can you imagine when you finally finish whatever you have to do for the day, you finally entertain all your guests, you know, and then you get back to your hotel room? Where got energy to do anything else?
Correct.
Right? So this is legitimately what I think. My idea of a wedding night. Cuddles and rest.
Very realistic. I love
Very
that.
good.
Okay. Now,
about you?
Azura,
Okay, Azura.
Yes.
before your wedding, what did you think that it was going to be?
I don't think I had thought about it. I don't think I had an ideal or expectations.
Okay.
I think I was so caught up with the wedding.
The preparation and stuff, is it?
Yes. I don't think I'm a bridezilla, but I think maybe the people around me would say otherwise.
Okay.
But it was hell. I tell you, when I was done with the wedding, I announced to everybody, it was like a vow.
Wow.
Wow.
Bridgerton also got vow.
Okay.
It was like a vow that I die also, I will not plan another wedding. It's a nightmare. It's a nightmare.
Too much stress and pressure.
But I think other people's wedding, I'll gladly do it lah. Kepo ma.
Okay, so you have no clear picture of how your
I didn't
wedding
have a
night
clear
will be.
picture because everything was just a chaos. Let me tell you something quite scary. So I think up until 2 weeks before the wedding, I was still not done giving out my invitations.
Oh, cutting it close, babe.
Extremely.
Extremely.
And I also only ordered my cake 2 weeks before the wedding.
Ayo.
She took my order there. She still gave me exactly what I wanted.
Oh, so nice.
That's stressful.
Stressful,
Very, very
stressful, stressful is the word. Exactly.
Okay.
So I'm very curious to find out what actually happened during Azura's wedding night.
Yeah. What did she hold?
Yeah.
To have and to hold.
Wow.
Okay. Death do us apart.
Yeah. So I think my idea of the wedding night, I mean, obviously, both Hayes and I are not married, right? I agree with Hayes that we'd be too tired to do anything. Honestly, I'm not looking to do anything on my wedding night. That can be for the honeymoon. I want to sit in the hotel room, order room service, and count my money. No, because you get to open all the ang paos and smell the money, and like I'll bring like a cash machine. Then we'll just
I
count it.
really wanted to do that, right? But then, right, so what happened was my parents had brought it home.
Ayo!
And we were in the hotel for a couple of days. So I think the next day they had done it. And then by the time I got home, I was like, can I count? And then they were like, we've done it. I can tell you. I'm like, oh, sian. I want to open the packets, you know.
and
And
it's
like,
the happiness of opening it and counting it. Don't use the cash machine. Just count with your fingers and your hands.
correct.
Yeah, that's where the pleasure is.
So that's what I think the wedding night would be. Use your fingers, yeah.
Yep.
So let me just,
Okay.
you know, we've got a note here from producer N,
Yes.
who's decided to give us the official definition of wedding night in Cambridge
Alright.
Dictionary.
Okay.
let's ask her to read it up for us.
What does wedding night mean, producer N?
It is the night of someone's wedding.
Aboden.
You don't say.
Yeah.
And then?
That's it.
That's it. So the night of your actual wedding, okay, that's what we're discussing today.
Okay.
And this episode kind of came about because we were very inspired by this new Netflix series. It's called Bridgerton.
Wow. Am I the only one who haven't seen it?
Yes. I think we have all seen it, but Azura has not seen till the end, so let's
Yes.
not spoil it
Spoil
for
it
her.
for me too much.
Okay.
But to what do I owe the pleasure, Lady Germaine?
Yeah, we must make haste. That means we must quickly tell her. We must make haste. Okay.
Wow, that translation though.
So a lot of us binge watch this series, and I guess, you know, in this series, because it's set in period times, we'll just give a little bit of a background, okay, about what really happened. So it is kind of like, if you've ever seen Gossip Girl, it's like Gossip Girl set in period times.
Okay.
In the 1800s, I believe.
Yes.
Yeah.
So instead of, you know, having a website where Gossip Girl will type out the gossip, right? They do like a flyer, a newspaper.
Okay.
They send it out, okay?
Yeah.
So it's kind of like a modern twist, very interesting. They even have string quartets covering like
Modern
Ariana Grande's
songs.
Thank You Next.
Yes, as Billie Eilish.
Yes, Billie Eilish. Shawn Mendes. Yeah. So very, very interesting, I guess. But it is rated for our younger listeners. Very
Yeah.
much so. So in this show, women were very oppressed.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So, for example, right, let's say now you want to go out at night, right? You cannot go out at night without a chaperone.
Yeah.
Someone like your brother needs to chaperone you if you want to meet anyone else at night.
Because if you were caught like outside with a guy, for example, even if you're not doing anything, you're like tainted.
Yeah,
no
you're
more
ruined.
value after that.
Yeah.
Done.
And this is only applicable to women.
Yes.
Oh.
Correct. And not just that as well. Okay, so the main protagonist is Daphne Bridgerton. Okay.
Yes.
She's so beautiful. She basically is very innocent, virgin till marriage, knows nothing about sex,
Yeah.
only knows what kissing is. And over the course of the series, you see her like really blossom into a woman.
Right.
So this is the spoiler alert. Okay, if you haven't seen episode 5, please skip past for the next 1 or 2 minutes.
Yep.
We don't want to spoil you. But basically, in the 5th episode, Daphne, who really loves children, she got married to a duke, which is like below a prince, I think.
Handsome leh.
Very handsome. Dreaming. Okay. So this duke told her he cannot have children. He cannot give her children.
Okay.
So she thought, oh, he's impotent, you know, he can't have children. She felt very bad for him, but married him out of love. Even though she really wanted kids, she wanted to be a mother. That's the only thing she wanted.
Yeah.
So married out of love. And then after the wedding night, they got intimate.
Okay.
He said, "Let me show you more."
Yes.
I can show you the world.
Yes.
Correct. So they engaged in, marital relations.
Yep.
This part I thought was shot quite well. Yeah, I only watched this part of the whole series.
Of course you did. Of course you did. You also left a message to us, yeah?
Yeah.
Which was?
The very perky ass of the Duke. My goodness, how much time does he spend doing squats? It's
Drop the
impressive,
workout
eh?
routine.
Yeah, my
Exactly.
goodness.
Yeah.
Impressive.
So after this whole thing, right? Obviously on the honeymoon, they were enamored with each other.
Right.
Going at it like rabbits, as they say. And then she realized that, how come every time that they finish, right, he will pull out of her.
Oh.
If he's impotent, he can just stay inside.
But she's so clueless. How come she knows this, leh?
She just felt like, how come he pull out, right? Then she cannot satisfy him. He has to satisfy and finish himself.
Right.
So she felt like it was a bit weird. Maybe it's instinct.
So out of love, he wants to be able to do this for the guy.
She wants to,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, you see, because what he didn't tell her was that he is not infertile, that he can have kids. It's just that he has made a vow before this
To not
Correct.
have kids.
to not have kids.
Okay, okay.
To not sire an heir, not have his bloodline continue.
Right.
Exactly.
'Cause
But
he's
she
very
doesn't
ashamed.
know this.
So she went to ask one of her servants, right? Last time they had their own servants dedicated to them.
Right.
And the servant told her everything that happened, and she realized that he had lied to her. It's not that he cannot have kids, he will not have kids.
Oh.
Then she was very sad. She was very, very upset. So I guess this is kind of like really what happens in the past when women were oppressed, but now I feel like things have changed since then, and had definitely actually was kind of like taught by her mom or anyone in her life about the process of baby making. She would have known this.
Right.
Unfortunately, she didn't. So there are a few things from the show that got us thinking lah.
Exactly, because actually, even before this entire thing happened, right? One of the girls had gotten pregnant out of marriage. Yeah, out of marriage lah. And everybody was so curious. Like the girls were talking among themselves, and they were just like, but she's not married. How? So they don't understand like the entire thing. They just don't know anything about it.
They believe that until you're married, you literally physically cannot have sex. That's what they believe.
Okay.
They're conditioned to believe that by high society lah. Correct. So I guess, virginity before marriage, as it was then and as it is now, is still something that a lot of people take very seriously.
For sure.
Yes. And it's like a value. It's also a religious aspect. There's some religious aspect to it. Yeah. And for traditional families, that is the way that it should be. You cannot have sex before marriage. But don't you guys think that this concept of virginity favors the men?
Because there's no way of telling. This is with regards to like the entire like, oh, you bleed your first time. If you don't bleed, you're probably not a virgin because there's something to tell.
Because there's a
But
way to test
we
it,
also
right?
covered before, right?
Yep.
That there's like a million ways to tear it before sex.
Your hymen, exactly,
Yeah, exactly.
So in Bridgerton, girls in the 1800s were expected to be virgin and pure to your marriage. But these guys,
Had mistresses,
going to brothels,
Yep.
having relations with the servants and all that. And they are like, it's okay.
They're still high and
Yep.
noble.
They're not like ruined. It's not a scandal. It's a double standard.
But it's terrible. The most terrible thing about it, right, is that the girls that they sleep with are completely not for marriage to them. Yeah. So
Right.
that's terrible, because they'll go for these like opera singers and whatever else. And even if they love them eventually, marriage is out of the question.
Because of social hierarchy,
Yeah.
status, they have to marry someone from a respectable family. They cannot marry like someone who doesn't have a bloodline
Correct.
or something like that. Yeah, correct.
Very olden times, I would say.
We also kind of, I guess, it is very obvious to people who have seen the show or even people that consider your wedding night, being virgins going into your wedding night and also being not virgins going to your wedding night is very different.
It is.
So we'll discuss more about this, but first, let's have producer Anne tell us a bit more about chastity.
Do you believe in it?
Tell us.
Okay, the definition of chastity is the state of not having sexual relationships or never having had sex.
Okay.
So not just
Virgin
sex itself, but also other kinds of, sexual relationships.
Yeah. So Germaine has asked me, right, whether I believed in it. I think I sort of believe in it. I feel like I had to stay away from sexual relationships
Until marriage.
until marriage, correct.
But why, can I ask?
I think it's partly because of my religion, like what I believed in, and also because I believe in keeping it for the person that I love. Yeah. So I guess it makes it special. Yeah. What do you guys think?
I actually have a friend who is a couple years older than me. She is still a virgin.
Right?
And it's not because of religion, like producer Anne, but it's actually because of her personal choice. She wants to lose it to someone that means a lot to her. Like really love.
Right.
I agree.
Because if we are just talking about love, right? As long as we enter a relationship, I guess it's safe to say that we love this person that we are seeing. But when we take things to marriage, I think it's of a different level.
Yeah. It's like a next level kind of trust.
Can I tell you about a presentation I did in uni?
Okay.
Tell us.
The title of the presentation was Why You Should Have Premarital Sex.
Why you should have.
Yeah.
Hey. Okay, so I have a friend like that. I will tell you the story in a bit.
Okay.
Okay, but carry on.
Oh, no. Basically, I gave a presentation on why you should have premarital sex.
Okay, so why?
So why?
Because firstly, if you're spending the rest of your life with this person, you need to know if it works, right? If
Right.
there's
In
no
bed?
sexual chemistry, correct.
Right.
I cannot be sleeping in the same bed with this person for the rest of my life.
Really? Really? But what if you guys work out in all other aspects?
That's a tough one. But I would want to know, I guess.
Okay.
So I did that presentation, right? I think a lot of people were taken aback by it. I thought it was not going to be a big deal. But people were talking about it in like other classes. Like, oh, she said you should have premarital sex.
Oh my god.
So, what grade do you get?
I think I got an 8. It was a persuasive argument. So I was persuading them.
She can sell anything.
But Hayes, what do you think? Do you think like a woman should stay a virgin till they get married?
I think this is purely personal choice. I don't think there's any right or wrong because it's your body and you have the right to do whatever you want. But if it makes you happier to only give it away after you get married, then by all means go ahead.
Personal
But
choice.
For me, I believe in opening up my options. You know, I believe in exploring before I come to a decision, so to speak.
Interesting.
I don't want to sound like
Explore
we are
where?
Yeah,
loose.
correct. I was thinking of that also.
Is there a map?
A map I draw for you.
treasure or not.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't want to sound like I'm loose or anything like that, you know. But I think it is important, lah.
Right.
What do you think?
Okay, 2 stories here.
Okay.
Okay.
Story time.
I'm ready,
Can I
I'm
have a
ready.
Ding, ding, ding. Excuse me. Can I have a ding ding ding?
Ding, 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 ding. Is that what you wanted?
Okay, so touching on what Germaine said earlier, so I have a very good friend who has a daughter slightly younger than I am. I think a couple of years ago when she first got herself a boyfriend.
Okay.
So he told me about it. And then he told me specifically as well that he told his daughter that before you get married or before you decide to marry, he believes that you should stay together first. And he encouraged his daughter as well to explore the physical side of things.
Wow!
I will
Something
not
my dad will
mention
never
said person.
say.
Oh,
Okay.
never. Yeah. Our dads would never say that.
Hey, Papa Jermaine. Just celebrated his birthday. Happy birthday,
happy
uncle.
birthday, happy birthday, uncle. If he's listening to this, I am going to go hide in a hole.
I will text him after
No!
this. Hey, can I come for Chinese New Year and make friends with him? Okay, so carrying on, right? He is very liberal that way. And he believes in this, and he was very open with his daughter about it.
Right.
Okay, so that's his stand on it. That's his take on it, right? Personally, for me, right, I am very similar to producer Anne, actually.
Okay.
So I kept it till my marriage. Thank you, everybody. got a what or not?
Can.
Okay, but I think my reason for this was that many years ago, I had read something.
Okay.
Unfortunately, I don't have it with me. I can't find it. I tried to find it. So no more day 1263. But I read something and it actually spoke to me because it said something about when you engage in physical activities, for example. It's not just a physical thing, but a part of your soul or the person's soul stays with you forever.
Wow.
So for me, it was like if whatever relationship you were in turns to shit, right? That was probably something that will stay with you, although it's out of you already, but...
Right.
When at first you said stay in you, I was thinking of something else, but
I know.
yeah. We need to clean our minds with Dettol. Dettol, please sponsor us. But okay, understood.
Yeah.
Understood.
So that actually stuck out for me and it stayed with me for a long time. So with that in mind, I mean, as well as, my religion and everything like that. So I felt like, okay, I don't think, if you have your heart broken, for example, that is one thing to deal with already.
Right.
I don't think I want something like that to stay with me.
Okay.
Because it's more than just physical. We all know this, right? It's extremely intimate in all sense of the word. And I think when you engage in something like that, I think it's really more emotional than it is physical, right?
For sure.
Yeah. So I didn't want to deal with that. So I said, okay.
Wow. Well, thanks for sharing. Thank you so much for
Very
sharing.
good
You will
point.
send this to your husband. Now, with Singapore being fairly conservative in the grand scheme of things, when you look globally, I would say that even though the global kind of like mindset towards virginity has really shifted, but over here in Singapore, either we don't really talk about it or a lot of families are rather traditional. So this next part, right, I wanted to bring on both the married ladies here, producer Anne and Azura, to talk a bit more about their actual wedding nights.
Yay.
I want to hear. Okay, producer Anne, you want to go first?
Mine is really not exciting, I tell you first. But carry on, producer and tell us.
I don't think mine is that exciting either. I feel that it's a whole new experience, before you even step into marriage. And then, like, for me, because I've never had sex before I got married.
Okay.
So I guess the experience that we both share on that night, I guess we could only get that from each other.
Okay, so can I ask this then? Did you engage in sexual relations on your wedding night?
Not on my wedding night. We
violent,
tried
right?
though.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
but
That's
then
interesting.
Tell us more.
it happened in the morning and it says wedding.
How come it didn't happen on the night? Not that it's wrong, but just from your personal experience.
I think because both of us don't have that experience, so we basically step into something that we don't
unfamiliar
know.
with.
Yeah, we are very unfamiliar. We don't know
Interesting.
what to expect. Yeah, so it's just us like looking at each other and like, so how do you do this?
What goes where? It's like Tetris,
Absolutely not romantic, basically.
It's not romantic because it's more of like an exploration
Yeah.
kind
Yeah,
of thing.
yeah.
Like,
But part of me, I would believe that guys would have seen their fair share of pornography to know how things work
That's
and
likely.
what goes where.
I think both of us know a lot about sex. We know what happens during sex.
Okay.
But because it's like you know a lot about driving, for example. But when you sit on the driver's seat, it's a totally different story.
Yeah,
Where does-
I've been
where-
driving 8 years. I'm still a terrible driver. Nothing has changed.
Yeah, so that was my experience with my husband on our wedding night.
Can I ask, right, before your wedding night, when you were preparing for it, did you think like, oh, we're gonna have sex, I should buy this, I should
Pack
clean
nice
this,
lingerie.
I should-
True.
Did you also ask anyone, like, hey, what should I expect? What's going to happen?
Right.
What should I do?
I did not ask anyone, but I saw a few TikToks that talked about the wedding
TikTok?
night. Yeah.
Wow, educational.
Yeah, and it was I'm Muslim, by the way. So I watched a TikTok from another influencer who is also Muslim. So she talked about her wedding night experience. So it kind of like got me a little bit more prepared, like what to expect. Like she talked about the nervousness that you might get. It's more of like exploring with your significant other. So before the wedding night happened, like even during the wedding itself, like what Germaine said, yeah, there was some moments I was thinking about it. I was like, oh shit, like I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna do something totally different, right? So that part was a little bit scary, I would say.
Nerve-wracking.
Yeah, it's like, how
Okay.
Like, how did that happen?
Okay, so on the night it didn't work out. So you said you guys tried the next morning. Did it work out well?
I wouldn't say well.
Okay, but it worked out.
It worked out.
For everybody.
Still trial and error lah.
Yeah,
and I think
it
it's
is a
fully
trial.
it's fully okay.
Yeah, definitely.
explore.
It's a process, right?
Yeah,
At the end of
it's
the
a
day,
process.
yeah.
It's definitely a process.
So when it happened in the morning, how was it? Was it painful? Was it
Did you feel
awkward?
good?
I think it's more painful at first because you do have a foreign object coming into you.
Coming
Hey, your
into
husband's
you.
not Singaporean.
I stay in the east side before I move in with him to the west side, so you can consider
He's
him
foreign.
foreign.
Halfway
Okay,
across
okay,
the world, okay?
So it does hurt. If you look it up online, everyone who has sex for the first time, it's going to hurt, especially for the ladies.
Thank you very much, producer Anne, for sharing. I know that took a lot of courage from her to actually share that with us.
Thank
I'll
you.
give you a
Thank you.
Don't
Thanks,
touch
Azura.
her.
Thanks, Hazel.
Respect her body. So now we move on to Azura.
Yes, hello.
You
Tell
mentioned
us
that-
more.
Yeah, you mentioned that your wedding night wasn't very exciting.
No, first of all, I've shared before on the podcast that the day before my wedding, I started bleeding.
Oh,
And I activated everybody.
Yes, yes.
That's number one. And then number two was that it's really, really tiring. So for context, I didn't go on leave before I got married. So I got married on Saturday. Friday was the only day that I was on leave.
Okay.
And the very next Monday, I was back at work. And
And this woman had like the half of Singapore at her wedding.
Yeah.
It was how many people?
I had over 2,000 guests.
Wow, pre-COVID times, man. Pre-COVID times.
And it basically ran from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m.
Oh, can like that?
I had 4 outfit changes. I was just dead. By the end of it, right, it was just, oh my gosh, not even the end of it. By the time I was on my second outfit, which was at like 1 p.m.,
Okay.
I was done. I was sitting there and I was just like, anybody want to take my place? I'm out. It was really, really tiring. Yeah, so that was it for me. So after the wedding, we and our closest friends went to hang out. And then we went back to the room. I tell you, we didn't even get to look at like posts that people tagged us in. We didn't even look at pictures. It was immediately wash up
KO.
and bye-bye. Good night, see you tomorrow.
Wow.
Okay,
You knocked
so-
out lah, basically.
Knocked out.
Wow.
Absolutely just done.
So when did you guys engage in the relations?
What happened the next morning?
Nothing lah, I was bleeding.
So when did it happen?
Maybe 2 days after that. Yeah, I think for me, I am quite comfortable like with people in general and things like that, you know. So it wasn't awkward for me. I would imagine maybe for some girls, for example, they would be like embarrassed maybe or like a bit shy.
Perhaps, for
Yeah,
sure.
and things like that. But because of how I am, right? So I was like, okay, it's a natural process. Okay.
Okay.
Like that lah. Okay.
Oh.
So you kept it to your wedding night or day for this matter. What about your husband?
First girlfriend ma. Yeah, I tell you okay, so right. I used to have an issue with this.
With what?
Because, okay, for a while, I used to always be like, I wish he had experienced a heartbreak before me.
Right.
Then he will know, wow, he got it damn bloody lucky. You know?
It's perspective.
It's perspective. It's just me being an asshole lah. But and I always felt that way, or just felt like there were certain things that maybe he didn't fully understand or like fully grasp, right? Because you never went through that heartbreak. That was what I thought. Until one day a friend told me like, hey, I think you cannot think this way anymore lah. I think you need to think about it in such a way that you are one of the very few in the world, right, who can go to sleep every day knowing and being assured that you have his heart and no one else has ever had it leh.
I think it's very special.
So I started to take comfort in that and let go of my
Insecurities.
not insecurities, but like if you had gone through this, you would know how to value this a little bit more. That was my initial ideology, yeah.
Wow. Actually, your friend makes a lot of sense. I hope you are still friends with this person.
we are.
But let me ask you guys this. Have you ever heard of something called the hymenoplasty?
What?
I don't know what that is, but can I make a guess?
Yes.
That you do something to put it back?
Yes.
Oh my God.
So if you are not a virgin before marriage, and in some cultures believe that you have to bleed on your wedding night, your hymen has to be broken on your wedding night. So what they do is they reconstruct the hymen or transplant a hymen into you so that it is closed up again and your husband can break through it. Yes. There is also vaginal reconstruction, vaginal beautification.
Are you kidding?
But let me ask you guys this, hush listeners. Are there such things for guys?
That's a good question.
Question, producer N.
Yes.
Okay, did you bleed your first time? Because I didn't.
I didn't.
Oh.
Maybe you guys had already, because there's many ways for your hymen to be broken.
Yeah.
You could have literally been like on a bicycle, pom, and it's gone.
At East Coast, right?
Yeah, at East Coast Park, a lot of people lose. That's the official location.
You mean like while riding a bicycle or the
Yes.
car parks?
No. While riding a bicycle, you know sometimes they got the humps, right? You don't see it, then you go dung dung.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I broke my on a bicycle at East Coast as well.
Right. My sister broke her chin on a bicycle.
Sorry?
At East Coast
She
Park.
broke her chin?
Yes, she fell off the bicycle, did a somersault in the air, and
my gosh.
had to get 5 stitches.
Oh dear.
So you're not kidding when you say East Coast Park is the official location where people
It's
break
true, it's true.
things.
So I was like 3 and my mother was teaching me how to ride a bicycle. And then she asked me to wait there for a bit because she wanted to go to the car and put her back.
Okay.
And obviously I didn't lah. So I decided to cycle myself and then I fell into the drain. And then I got a cut like below my eye all the way down.
You can see?
No scars.
okay.
But if I cry very badly, I think can see a bit of like
A line? But yeah, we are talking about this because in some cultures or in some societies, women feel like they have to lie that they're a virgin in order to preserve, you know, their purity and how the society views them.
like
But what do you
value.
think? Does this mean that this relationship is not as strong as you think it is? They say no lies in the relationship, right? You have to fully trust the other party.
Like how the Duke lied to Daphne. That's a big red flag.
But I think he didn't
I really
lie.
like him leh.
He Wait, did he play with words or did he lie?
He played with words.
He,
He
says,
played with
he
words.
said,
Yeah.
I cannot give you children.
But he
Yes.
knowingly played with words.
right.
Right.
So he had the intention of, you know,
Yeah, I honestly wish that he would just open up, be vulnerable, and tell her about this entire episode with his father. But I also understand that it must have been very hard.
it was the
because
1800s.
Exactly.
Yeah, things were different then.
They don't talk about feelings, huh?
Yeah. They don't have Tinder, you know.
Ah.
They meet people in person.
Huh, wonder how that's like.
I think going back to Jermaine's or Hazel's question on what do we think about people lying about their virginity, right? I feel like I could understand where the women is coming from because how society sees, or rather not society lah, but like people who are still traditional and conservative who see women who are not virgin on the night of their wedding. So like maybe the women who lie about their virginity just feel, I think, pressured.
Yeah, for sure.
And maybe if, let's say, if she did tell the truth and then she might get in trouble, you know, not just for lying to her husband, she might get in trouble, you know, from, I don't know, doing things that her parents told her not to do, for example. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I think it very much depends on the community that you are raised in. And sometimes you just don't want to be the object of scandal, you know?
Yeah,
You have to protect yourself as
You
a
don't
woman.
want lady whistle down to write about you.
Oh.
Yes.
So, you know, just to kind of wrap up, you know, the wedding night stuff, let's share some funny wedding night stories
Okay.
that producer Anne actually found on Reddit.
Okay.
Why not you start with the first one, producer? Caught her off guard.
Alright, so this one I could relate to, okay? So this person on Reddit says, I remember having to remove 38 bobby pins from my wife's hair before I could take her clothes off. Not the best foreplay, he said. And another Redditor commented to that comment and he said 38. I stopped counting after 100.
Oh my gosh. Hey, but it's true lah. Imagine the wedding hairstyles, you know.
Ah, really.
There'll be a lot of bobby pins in there. So it's very practical.
It's very practical. I tell you, I have a full drawer of bobby pins, and I've never once bought bobby pins in my life.
Oh,
Same.
so from all the makeup lah.
From all the makeup and like every show, right, I come back with like maybe 30, 40 bobby
Yes,
pins,
yes,
right?
Really.
Really,
Same goes for me.
Yeah.
Okay, I think I can relate to this second comment.
Okay.
Didn't happen that night. Putting on the wedding was so draining that we went to sleep right away. But after that, the first few times were awkward. We just had to learn how to talk through what was or what wasn't working for us. Only the first sentence related to me lah. Yeah.
Yeah, but for a lot of couples, it doesn't happen on the wedding night. So don't put that stress and that
You'll
pressure.
be so tired to
Yeah.
even enjoy yourself.
Okay, so there's this story that I think our male listeners, guess Cornelius talking to you, can actually relate to, okay?
Okay.
So a friend of mine from school, there's a story from Reddit, waited until the wedding night. They were very religious. So it's because of religion concerns. So he was a responsible guy, right? He used a condom on the wedding night. Shortly after, he started experiencing some sensations, not the good kind, down there. Yeah. Like burning and tingling and all that. So he actually was rushed to the ER, the emergency room.
Gosh.
And he found out he has a latex allergy
Oh
on
my
his wedding night.
Oh my gosh.
Correct. Poor thing. He must have thought something was wrong. Like, why is it burning? Like,
Spoiler.
yeah.
Spoiler.
Yeah, latex allergy.
Oh my gosh, poor thing.
Exactly. So on the flip side, right, couples that are experienced who have engaged in sexual relations before the wedding night, I think they have a completely different expectation for the wedding night, because it's not like, oh, we're waiting to do this. This is the main show. Yeah.
Okay, for anyone who can answer this, what do you think would be the difference pre and after marriage? Do you think there would be a difference?
If you have sex before marriage and you go into your wedding night, yeah, for sure.
There would be difference?
Yeah, because you wouldn't be nervous or scared. It's something that you've done a million times. You have already communicated.
No, as in like the sex itself, like before and after. Do you think there would be a difference?
Yes. Because before marriage, you are a bit scared, apprehensive, because you might be knocked up.
Right.
Especially if you don't use protection, which you should use protection.
Unless you have a latex allergy.
Yes, that's correct, please.
But you can find other forms of protection.
Correct.
Right.
Then I think maybe after, it's a bit more like, nervous, like producer Anne has shared, that she was a bit excited for her wedding night. I feel like you wouldn't have that.
Or if you're looking to have kids, you may be even hopeful. And that's a nice feeling.
You wouldn't be scared.
Yes.
You just be like, whatever, because
Even if you're not
Take me
ready, but
away.
if it happens, it's okay because you're married.
take me away, like tapao me. Hey, that's what people say, tapao home.
Tapao home,
Have you heard of that before, Azura?
No?
But that's more of like one night stands and stuff, right?
So tapao home means like you tapao home someone like from the club.
Right.
From the club.
From the club.
Right. Don't objectify women, just saying.
Yeah, not your 经济米粉
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, so I think we've covered a lot about the wedding night. Honestly, for someone that's not married yet, it's given me a lot of perspective.
Soon to be, no? Eh?
Yeah. I already say if you like it, you should put a ring on it.
Asa.
So I wanted to wrap this up with some of our personal thoughts.
Okay.
Okay. I think I can start first.
Okay.
I think first and foremost, don't stress if it doesn't happen on your wedding night. And when it does happen, be it pre, after, whenever it is, the first time is never going to be good. The first time is like, you guys don't know what is happening. And this is not a first time with a new partner. It's the first time in general. You don't know what goes where. You don't know what you're supposed to do. And you haven't communicated or know this person well enough to enjoy it as much as you should, right? But if this is your person, you should be able to communicate with them about your wants and your needs, and kind of gradually not be shy about that.
For sure. For me, it's more like if you are not like producer Anne or Azura, you are not a virgin on your wedding night, don't be stressed up over it as well. Like what Germaine said, I'm sure there's someone for everyone. As long as you are truthful and you communicate to your other half, I think everything will work out very, very well. Who knows, you may even have a better time because you're experienced. You know what I mean?
Correct. I think expectations leads to disappointments.
Oh.
So I think it's good for you to understand that it's a process. There's nothing to be stressed about. If you're going to marry this person, it's lifelong, right?
Yeah, for
so
sure.
it's something that you can explore together and communicate openly. Like I know some people are shy, or like they don't know how to talk about it. But I think we all know that like physical
Relations.
yes is an important aspect of marriage as well, and that there's nothing wrong about it lah.
Yes.
To talk about it, to express
Whatever
what you
kink you
want.
have.
Okay, but also right before we end off, I actually want to touch on something as well because I just thought of it. Right, I want to ask you. Let's say you've had multiple partners.
Okay.
Okay, would you lie about it? This is not about whether you're a virgin or not, but would you lie about your number?
Your body count.
Yes.
No.
No.
I wouldn't. I would be absolutely honest and truthful. What's there to lie about?
Yeah lor.
I mean, if you find that this is something not acceptable, then it's fine. We can go our own ways. I'm fully okay with it.
Right. But what if your count is rather high and it's not something you're proud of and you really like this person?
If I have done it, I would own it. I would be responsible for my actions, even if the count is high. It's me who made this decision, so there's no use being ashamed of it.
Yeah, would you want to be with someone who would judge you for your body count?
Right. That's what I think.
Right. Because you've made that commitment to this person that, you know, I'm not going to sleep around. Like, I'm committing myself to you.
Right.
So that should be enough, right? I guess, in a sense. Yeah.
That's what I
Because,
think.
okay, so basically I have a friend. She believes a different thing, you see. So she thinks that saving it or your first time or that this is sacred is overrated.
Okay.
She thinks that it's been emphasized so much, you know, like, oh, it's important, it's sacred. So she thinks it's absolutely ridiculous.
Okay.
And it doesn't make sense because she feels like, you know, once you start having it right, it's just a physical thing. That's what she believes, you see. And she's very okay with saying and making it clear that I don't want anything. I'm just here for this. That's it.
Okay.
I think everyone is different. For me, I think it's hard not to attach emotions to it because
Correct.
I'm very like personal about my body. If I like let you in, then that means a lot to me.
Exactly. So it's like that for her, right? And so she's carried on that way.
I see.
But at some point, rather around now, because it's been a couple of years since the last relationship, so she feels like I don't even know how to date anymore. And if I do, I've been sleeping around and it's been so nothing to me that she feels like she is not good enough for somebody.
No, don't think that way. I think it's a
Yeah.
phase of life.
Yeah.
If that phase is over, then let it be. Don't have to feel bad because that constitutes to who you are today.
Correct. Everyone is different. Everyone's got different beliefs when it comes to marriage, to sex. So just, you know, be confident in who you are and really like don't care about people's judgment at the end of the day. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I kind of wanted to wrap it up with some advice.
All right.
You know, for people listening who are not married yet, let's go to our two beautiful married ladies here. Producer, and what wedding night advice do you have? Like what shaver to buy? No!
Just buy the one at Watson's lah, very cheap.
Actually, right, let me tell you, men's razor works best.
Ooh.
Yeah, because it's a sharper blade. Okay, anyway, moving on. Sorry, producer Ed.
Alright, so advice for those who are doing it for the first time on your wedding night. I think everything new is going to be scary. Like everything, anything new. So don't be nervous about it. I think earlier Germaine and Azura talked about expectations. Don't have, big expectations because to avoid disappointment, don't have expectations. Also, like I've said earlier, that there will be or there might be failed attempts and that is totally normal. So focus on intimacy, get to know each other and get comfortable. If it doesn't happen the first night, there are so many more nights or days when it can happen. And a very, very important thing to note is that marriage is more than just sex.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there's so
sure.
much more to explore.
Yep. I think it's as much emotional as it is physical. I don't think you should be too nervous or pay too much attention to like your laundry, for example, because I think he won't even notice.
That's true.
It'll be gone in like 2 minutes.
Right. Oh.
Seconds.
Seconds.
I think I would be eating so much on the wedding night. I wouldn't want to be in lingerie.
Hey, babe, you will be so hungry after the wedding.
Yeah.
You just want to be in comfortable bathrobes, eating your supper.
So right, one of the saddest things for me, right, is because I love my desserts. So I made sure that at my wedding that it was going to be a dessert galore lah.
Yum. Okay.
Yum! Yeah, so I had a separate dessert vendor from my food vendor and I think we had a selection of like 30 desserts. And a live churro station and a live ice cream station.
Wow.
And I didn't get any of it leh. Oh, I'm damn sad. I didn't get to try anything. And everybody's telling me, wow, babe, it's damn good. And I'm just like,
Shut up.
I literally didn't get anything.
Oh no.
So
okay, we go
Azura's
eat desserts after this lah.
Azura's advice is please save something for your
yourself.
wedding night. Yeah. Ask one of your bridesmaids to just, save one from each.
Yeah.
Right?
Then you have 30 desserts.
Correct.
Okay, so just one last question. What about finding out about sex before your wedding night? If you have not had sex before then.
Come and ask us lah.
Yeah.
DM Azura go.
I think maybe if you know people who you can talk to, who is married, who can tell you like things that you need to know, I think
Birds and the
it's
bees.
yes, I think it's absolutely okay to ask. Shouldn't be ashamed or I think it's normal lah. We should normalize talking about this.
Yes.
Because
That's why we're
Daphne's
doing
mom from Bridgerton didn't tell her anything.
Exactly.
But that was set in olden times. I think
true.
things are different
1800s
now.
life. You're still like this now.
My
then
mom
God.
never told me.
But I would want to be this honest with my kids in future.
At what age do you think you will start talking about it?
16 maybe.
That's okay.
Yeah. What do you think, Producer Anne? What about you?
I think all of us, especially in Singapore, you already learnt about sex in school. You are more than likely to know about sex on the day of your marriage, for example.
But like, you know what goes where? I feel like I wouldn't have known that, you know,
Right.
from sex education.
But I feel like what Azura said, don't be afraid to ask questions. Because I know for sure that I am afraid to ask that question. And I do regret not asking it.
Okay.
Yeah. And I was hoping if, let's say, if somebody is asking me, I just wish that I'm brave enough to answer them.
Wow.
Because yeah, like what has happened today lah.
So can they DM itsclarity.co?
Yes, please. do.
Yes, okay.
And with that, thank you very much for tuning in.
So we hope that this episode has been educational for you and that you have learned a thing or two. And also here, we would like to wish you a happy Chinese New Year! 大吉大利，话的。
多多昂包。
Yes.
Yeah.
So with that, Hush Podcast may be taking a small little break.
Just a short one.
Yeah, to celebrate CNY, you know, to spend some time for family and loved ones. But we will catch you really, really soon, okay? So thank you once again for listening. I'm Hazel.
I'm Azura.
And I'm Germaine.
And we'll see you next time on Clarities.